Okay, what's going on YouTube? This is going to be my little video tutorial of how to remove and replace your alternator for a 1999 Honda Accord LX with a 2.3 VTEC motor. Some people say that you have to take the power steering pump off. That's not true. I left it on. It's just a pain in the ass to get to where these bolts, your top mounting bolt and your bottom mounting bolt and the adjustment screw to get the serpentine belt off and the alternator out. As you can see, I've got it out. So I left the bolts in there so I could show you exactly what you need to do. First off, this one was a 12mm nut. Everything's metric. So you need 12mm, 14mm, and I believe that is a 10mm. Yes. So the first thing I did, disconnect the battery on the negative side. Come over here, disconnect the wiring harness with the plug, and I disconnected the bracket that mounted up to the top of this, to the alternator, which was right here where that bolt is missing. Then, after you've got everything disconnected from here and here and your plug, take your 12mm socket or wrench, whatever you can fit in there because it's a tight squeeze, and start working on this. Be careful not to round off the edges. I did that a little bit on this one and it sucks. Screw that off out completely. Get the bolt off of there. This will stay in there. It won't go anywhere until you're ready, and this will usually be back down to about here to keep the tension on the serpentine belt. So until you get this off of there, you can't release the serpentine belt. Take your 10mm, unscrew this. I'll take this off for a second. And you'll unscrew here. And then eventually what will happen is your alternator, the weight of the alternator will eventually slide down here. To make it easier to get this bolt out, hold the alternator up so that you can unscrew it. It's a lot faster and a lot easier. Once you get to that point, reach around, pull this through bolt out. Now your alternator is going to be floating freely on this bolt here. Take a 14mm wrench, socket. If you've got a nice little socket set with a wobble head on it or a universal joint, that'll make it a little easier. Otherwise, you're going to have to use a wrench. Still, either way, it's a tight fit and it's a pain in the ass. You pull that out and you can pull your alternator out just as easy. Follow those steps in reverse and you'll be able to put it back in there. As far as the tension on the belt, try and keep it, or before you get started, try and remember and feel how tight the belt is until, so that you know that you're going to get the correct tension on this to run the motor without tearing up the belt and having it slip on you, ultimately causing the alternator to fail or the belt to fail and slip off, thus you're screwed again. When you put it back in, keep in mind that you go in reverse, and once you put your adjustment bolt in, don't tighten your through bolt or the nut on this side until you get the tension you want on this. If you're not sure about the tension, tighten it up as much as possible. Tighten up the nut and then take it to your shop and have them check the tension on the belt. They've got the proper equipment for it, unless you know the torque specs. Then you're good to go. Thank you. Oh, and I'll show y'all in another video what it looks like on the way in.